Hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name's Courtney. I like talking about books. As you can see, the shelves are empty, and also I have not been on here in forever. I inadvertently took like an entire month off of filming. I did not mean to do that, but life has been lifing. Yeah, so let's just chit chat a little bit and I'm gonna update you guys on what's been going on and what I'm up to. Like a month ago, I posted my October TBR, I want to say, and I did complete that TBR all except one book, which is Unnatural. We'll get to that. We'll get to the November TBR, but I first want to do a little bit of like life updates. So yeah, after I posted that, actually kind of during that time period, I was going through some health things. I think I mentioned it in one of my last videos, but like, and it's nothing serious, but I was having just like knee pain, so I was having to rest from like my workouts and stuff, which was annoying. That did go away on its own, and then I was having like weird cramps and other pain, and it ended up being that I had to go get my IUD out, so that was a whole thing that took up like a good 2 weeks of my life of just like being in pain and stressed and anxiety, whatever. And something about me is when I am stressed or overwhelmed, I stop doing things. So like I had videos planned, but because of the stress of everything, I was like, I just need to focus on me right now and then pick up the camera when I feel like it again. So that's kind of what happened. I look at some of these other booktubers who can literally be like in the midst of a crazy move or like a crazy life change and they're still vlogging it, and I'm like, I want that to be me so bad, but like at this point in time, it's just not, unfortunately. Also, it's like 5 p.m. and it's like super dark out now that we've had daylight savings time end or whatever, and also we do have a storm that's supposed to be rolling in like right now, so sorry about the harsh overhead lighting. But yeah, so I was going through that, so that was like 2 weeks out of the month that I ended up taking off. And then I don't know, I was just like feeling weird, feeling anxious, not feeling like picking up the camera. And then like that same week or like the next week, I found out that we are going to be moving. But it's not like a typical moving situation, right? Where you pack up all your stuff and all your stuff goes to one location. We're actually putting our stuff in storage, and we're going to be traveling around a little bit for my hubby's job. And I'm gonna be going with for once, and we're gonna be like bouncing around to different states, or at least that's the plan. So anyway, we're gonna be nomads for a little while. So that's exciting, but also as a girly who likes routines, a little bit stressful. So the other 2 weeks of that 4-week stretch that I took off was because of just the craziness and the madness of trying to figure out what's going on, when we're moving, what I need to do, all that kind of stuff. So the books are already packed, they're gone, and now I'm just living in a mess of boxes. So that's that. What else? Oh, I wanted to mention too, I just got this matching sweatsuit. I don't know if you can really see it, and I can't really back up much. Yeah. I got this matching sweatsuit from Gap yesterday, and I'm obsessed, so I had to wear it. I wanted to, because I also kind of dropped the ball on like monthly wrap-ups. Not that I've been really doing them every month anyway, but like I did an October TBR video, and then I never did any reading vlogs. I never did any kind of wrap up. I literally didn't film anything. So I did want to go over some like book recs, like books that I read in the last like month or so that I really, really loved and just want to chit chat about. And a lot of these, I think all of them except for one, I don't have with me anymore. So I'll just like try to pop up a picture on the screen. Yeah, the last book that I just finished, I do have with me. I literally, it's so fresh in my mind too, thank goodness, because I just finished it. But that is Mate by Ali Hazelwood. And this is the, I want to say sequel to Bride, but it's like interconnected standalone romance, hair run normal romance. And the second book, this one, Mate, follows Serena, who is Misery from book 1. Serena is her best friend. So this follows Serena, who is the first human-were hybrid, and she's supposed to like heal this centuries-long rift between species. Instead, and I'm kind of reading off the back here, it makes her a target, it makes her prey between wares, vampires, and humans. Basically, she has to like move to the Northwest pack, which is led by Cohen Alexander, our MMC, who we love. And he's the alpha of the pack. This was so much fun as usual. Ali Hazelwood is just I think, like the absolute best at just like witty banter, just wit in general and humor. I don't know, I love her like sense of humor. I love her writing style. I find that all of her books, even the ones that aren't like my top favorites, are so easily bingeable. I think I read almost like 330 pages of this or like more in one day. So I did binge most of this just because it's so easy to read and get lost in. But I loved this. I loved the setting. It felt very atmospheric. It was kind of giving me like Twilight vibes almost, but like make it better, like not as cringy, and make it adult. It had those vibes. This was also, as you might know, or maybe not, because this involves, oh my God, that scared the shit out of me. Something fell. Anyway, because this involves werewolves, it is a little bit like Omega-versey, so there are some Omega-verse things that happen within the spice that, you know, if you're not a fan of, you might want to skip. But just, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, look up Omega-verse. You'll know. You'll know when you know. I loved this. Like I said, it is a paranormal romance between a werewolf and like a human were hybrid. It's kind of Omega-versey. It's very spicy as usual with Ali Hazelwood's books, and I had a great time. I thought the plot was like really fun, really fast-paced. I was never really bored. I would say the last, I don't know, maybe 50 pages, it kind of felt a little slower to me, and I don't know if that's just, that could be my fault, because like I said, I had binged like 336 pages the day before, and so I didn't have a lot left, and I think maybe I should have just pushed through and like kept reading. I probably would have been able to just finish it super quick. I did end up giving this 4.5 stars. So this is one of my book recommendations from the last month. Really highly enjoyed this. Now, like I said, the rest of the books I'm going to talk about, I don't have with me any longer, are in storage, but I did write a list as usual. So the book that I finished right before Mate was The Second Death of Locke by, is it LV? I think it's LV Bovalino. And I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed this as well. I found this to be very, I don't know, it felt like a classic fantasy, but with kind of a unique twist on the magic system. So instead of just having some type of magical person or being or whatever be able to perform magic, you have to have 2 people. One is a well that holds the power but can't use it, and one is a mage who once bonded with or like connected up with a well can wield said well's power. So I thought that was really unique. I don't think I've ever read a book where there's, you know, you have to have the 2 together to perform magic. So I loved that aspect, and I just thought, I don't know, the atmosphere, the setting, it was very like medieval. There was like journeying, there was castles and islands that were being hidden underneath the sea that needed to be like resurrected. I don't know, I loved the entire journey. I wish I had the book on me so I could like hold it and like look at the synopsis, because as you might know if you've ever watched any of my videos, I really struggle to remember like details sometimes of books. Like I'm trying to think of the names of the main characters. Kier and, oh, what was her name? Gray and Kier. I really liked them. I liked their relationship. I love that in this fantasy, instead of enemies to lovers, which seems to be what like all of the romantasy books are doing nowadays, in this one it's more of a friends to lovers. So it just creates such good like longing and tension where they're just like both kind of, you know, having feelings for each other, but they're not really saying anything. They don't want to ruin the friendship, that kind of vibe. I loved it. I gave it, like I said, 4 stars. I didn't give it 5 stars because I didn't quite get the 5-star feeling, and I do think the last like maybe 100 pages slowed down a little bit in my opinion. I wasn't losing interest per se, but I don't know, it just felt like it kind of slowed down a little bit. So, but I do highly recommend Second Death of Locke. I really enjoyed it and thought it was fun. It was unique. I liked the romance. The book that I read right before that is People Watching by Hannah Bonham Young, which surprisingly, drumroll please, I gave a 5 stars. Now, I know that this book is kind of like, I don't know if I would say controversial, but I feel like people either are loving it or hating it, and a lot of, it seems like a majority are not liking this one as much as Hannah Bonham's like other books. I really enjoyed it. I thought it had great depth. Like one of the main criticisms I've been seeing from other people, what is my hair doing, is that it lacks the same kind of like depth as some of her other books and characters. I didn't think so. I thought there was great depth. And I think the reason that people say that is because Milo is kind of, he's a playboy. His hypersexuality is clearly a mask for his pain. It's like how his trauma is coming out, right? Like this, to me, that's the whole point of the book. But a lot of people are using that as like a reason to hate on Milo. And yeah, don't get me wrong, like, is it kind of an ick to have that high of a body count? Yes, but at the same time, you can't change the past. And I just really, really enjoyed his upward character growth. Like, yeah, in the beginning, you're kind of like, some of the things he's saying and being in his head, you're like, I don't know about this. And I felt that exact same way. But I gave him a chance, and I just feel like he grew a lot as a character. I feel like both of them grew, but I do feel like Milo grew a lot. He was just always there for Prue and everyone around him, even when he couldn't even really realize that he was doing that and that he was showing up for everyone around him and being stable. He might not have been able to see that for himself, but everyone else could see it. I don't know. I loved him. I thought Milo was just a sweet, precious golden retriever, and I don't know, I loved it. Yes, it was spicy. If you read the synopsis of it, it's like that's kind of the point. It's kind of like the driving force of the story is this like friends, I don't want to say friends with benefits, but like this teaching situation. You know what I mean? Like the teaching trope, right? Where like she's a virgin and he's clearly very experienced. And so if that's not your thing, again, maybe skip this one. But I personally, for one, loved it. Ate up every crumb. Left, no. What is the saying? I ate it up and left no crumbs. There we go. Obsessed with that one. Still thinking about it. Highly recommend if what I've said makes you feel like you want to read it. Anyway, that's just my thoughts on it. And then the book that I read before that, it seems like all my bangers lately were like one after the next, all right in a row. So I read Throne of the Fallen by Carrie Maniscalco. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I gave this one 4.5 stars, and this one follows the series follows like the Princes of Hell, but this one in particular follows Prince Envy, and he follows him, and then shoot, what is the female main character's name? I don't know. But if the FMC is living in like the human world, she is a painter, and she's in the human world, but there's also like this black market that deals in like magical artifacts, and it's not like talked about, it's kind of taboo, but magic is kind of a thing. And lo and behold, she meets this man, which by the way, it's kind of like Bridgerton era, right? Like she's in London, there's the ton, which is, you know, society during that time, the season where young women are presented as like eligible for marriage, whatever. So it's like that time period, which I love. You have this woman who paints, and she's very well known for doing these amazing paintings. And anyway, this guy shows up to commission a painting from her. Lo and behold, it's Prince Envy, and they end up on a really fun journey together. There's these games. It kind of reminds me, so it's like Bridgerton era, but it's also obviously Princes of Hell, but then like the games aspect of it really reminds me of kind of like Phantasma Enchantra, which I loved Enchantra, by the way. I loved both, but I really, really loved Enchantra. I was kind of getting those vibes from this. Anyway, I feel like I'm saying a whole lot of nothing. I loved it. I really had a great time. I thought, again, the plot was so fun, so fast paced. I loved the characters. I loved Prince Envy. The romance was a little bit like, you know, back and forth, will they, won't they vibes, cat and mouse, whatever. You know what? I sometimes am into that, as long as it's not drug on for too long. But yeah, I really enjoyed the story, and it made me really excited for the rest of this series to get the other brothers' stories as well. So that's another one that I definitely wanted to throw in here and like recommend to you guys if you haven't picked it up. I can't believe I let it sit on my shelf for so long. I don't know how long I actually had it, but it was a banger. So, and then the last one I want to talk about, I read at the very beginning of October, I want to say, and that is Anathema by Carrie Lake. I gave that one a 5 stars. I gave both Anathema and Eldritch 5 stars, but I'm just gonna kind of talk about Anathema. Anathema is very dark, gothic, fantasy, very dark, gritty vibes. That was like my favorite part of the story, is just the atmosphere and the vibes were absolutely perfect for October and spooky season. And yeah, if you like gothic fantasy, Anathema is for you. Now, how do I explain this? The main female character of Anathema is living in this world where it's a very, what do I want to say? It's not dystopian, it's not future, but it's like, it's not good. She's very like feared. Everyone thinks she's this like symbol of evil or whatever. So she's shunned and she's not living a great life. And there's these woods that are called the Eating Woods, and you're not supposed to go there. They're like haunted, bad, whatever. Well, of course, she kind of toes that line of like, she's a little daring, she's a little bit living on the edge and willing to kind of test those boundaries. Not to give anything away, I'm gonna be like super vague as I usually am anyway. Her and Zevender cross paths, and Zevender lives in a completely different world. They go on this kind of journey together of, well, for her, for sure, it's like self-discovery, and for him as well, especially in the second book. But yeah, I don't know, I loved the story, the setting, the vibes, the romance, so good. The slow burn, it's very, very slow burn. And the main male character, Zevender, like I said, he's just very scarred and tattooed and just trauma. A lot of trauma. Check your trigger warnings. It is very dark. He has gone through a lot. I love me a man with trauma in fantasy and in books in general, and yeah, he was it. So he got added definitely to my best book boyfriends list. Again, I feel like I didn't really say much. I feel like once a book has, like, I've read it more than a couple weeks ago, I just really struggle to remember the details. But with Anathema, all I remember, well, not all I remember, but like the main thing I remember is the very, very strong gothic vibes, and just, it's a very vibey series and book. Highly recommend. That was 5 stars as well. So yeah, I had a lot of really good reads, 4.5 stars, 5 stars in the month of October and into November. And yeah, I'm in between books right now. Those are the only ones I'm gonna recommend and talk about really for now. I'm not gonna go over every single book that I read in October. I think I read like 8 or 9 books, so we really did go over most of them. The rest were like 3 stars, so 3 stars isn't a bad rating, but they're not the ones that I'm like shouting off the rooftops about, you know. I talked about the ones I really wanted to chat about. I would love to know if you guys have read any of those, what you think. Obviously keep it spoiler free, keep it respectful. I would love to know, what have you been reading and loving? I can always use more book recommendations. I will be utilizing my Kindle and Kindle Unlimited a lot more than I already do. Means how I'm going to be like traveling a lot. So give me recommendations, especially Kindle Unlimited ones. I would love that. So my TBR for November, Mate was on my TBR, and obviously, like I said, I already read that. So we can check that one off of the November TBR. Other books that I want to get to, I'll just mention Brimstone right now because that is a new release in November. I think it comes out November 18th. I'm very excited. Me and one of my friends have plans to kind of like go get the book and read it, start reading it together. I'm thinking I'm gonna need to do a little bit of a Quicksilver recap. I don't know if I'm gonna do a full reread, but I definitely need a recap. And I'm so excited for Brimstone. Otherwise, other books that I kind of am thinking about maybe reading in November, Unnatural, which was on my October TBR and I didn't get to. I think it's been on a couple TBRs already. Unnatural by Mia Sheridan. This comes after, is it called Untamed? Why do I feel like that's wrong? I don't know. It's called Untamed or something. It looks very similar, very beautiful cover with nature and like a cabin on it. I read that one this past July when I was on my cross-country like RV road trip, and I absolutely loved that one. It was very like psychological thriller romance, which I had never really read before. I've read romances that have like mystery aspects, but never one with quite so much of an emphasis on thrilling aspects and like psychologically thrilling. I don't know. I loved that one and I loved the MMC, and so that made me want to pick this one up when I heard that it was coming out. And this one follows Autumn Sterling. It says she knows more than she'd like to about pain and survival. As one of only a handful of children who made it to adulthood after being exposed to a horrific drug that swept impoverished communities decades earlier, Autumn is focused on living a full, rich life as a nurse, and yet she can't seem to let go of him. The boy she once called her moonlight monster. The boy they tried to convince her was merely a dream, brought on by her medications. But how could he be anything but real when she touched him, felt him, made him laugh? And she awoke with tangible sides of him still on her skin. Years later, when Autumn spots that same moonlit hair on a busy city street, her new life turns upside down. The boy, now a man, has suffered on a level even Autumn can't imagine. And it is this anguished soul, Sam, her moonlight monster, who is the link to every question about her past that's ever haunted her. Ooh, yeah, I just feel like so far, I've only ever read one other book by Mia Sheridan, but they both seem to be along that same vein of like psychological thriller, kind of like dark traumatic past type of situations, which I'm very intrigued, and I love this cover. Like, this is so fall, so I really do want to get to this in November, so that I don't have to put this off until next year this time. So anyway, this is also on my TBR for the month of November. The only other one, I'm keeping my TBR this month pretty small so as not to overwhelm myself. And also I just have been really in a reading mood, so I don't want to like set a super official TBR and then not get to it. The other book that I have put on my November TBR is Skyshade by Alex Astor. This is book 3 in the Light Lark series. I read the first 2 a while ago. I think I took a break between the first 2, Light Lark and Nightbane? Yeah, Nightbane. And I think I rated them both pretty highly, like high 4 stars. Again, I'm probably gonna need to refresh myself a little bit, but it's a love triangle. It follows Isla, and she has like nature magic. Again, I really need to brush up on this series. But the main thing that I remember is there's Grimm and there's Oro, and one has like dark magic and the other has light magic, and it's a love triangle. And it's a very drug out love triangle, like drug out across multiple books. So we still don't know, I still don't know who she's gonna end up with. All of these books though, so far have been very fast paced, so easy to get through. So I am really excited to read Skyshade and see what I think. And then I think there is another book coming after this, I want to say. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so I'm not going to obviously read the synopsis of this one since it is the 3rd in a series. But like I said, I'm excited to continue this series and get another series up to date on my list. That's pretty much it for my official, official TBR for the month of November. I'm going to mostly be mood reading, going to be doing a lot of packing and traveling, and it's gonna be craziness. Also, I did buy myself like a tub, so while we're traveling around I can have some books with me. I have like 6 on my cart right here that I think I am gonna be bringing with me, and I got this bin today. I don't know if you can tell like the size of it. I should be able to fit like 2 rows of books, so I just figured if I leave myself room for growth, I can buy a few books here and there, because if I tell myself I can't buy any books while we're traveling the next who knows how many months, I just don't think that's super realistic. So I'm giving myself room to grow. I'm gonna bring this box with me in my car and cart it around everywhere because a girl needs books, okay? A girl needs books. Anyway, I think that's everything I wanted to mention. I don't know how often I will be posting because like I said, it's been chaos. It's been pure chaos in life and also just up here. So I'm giving myself a break, letting myself just like create videos when I feel like it, when I do have updates, when I have books I want to share. Hopefully I will be eventually getting back into like reading vlogs and stuff. I would love to, but yeah, we will see where life takes us with that. That's pretty much everything that I wanted to mention. I hope you've all been doing well. Happy November. I can't believe it's already November. I can't believe we only have 2 months left of the year. And yeah, stay safe out there. Stay kind. I don't know what I'm saying at this point. Let me know what you're reading in the month of November. If you've read any of the books that I've talked about in this video, I would love to know, and if you liked them. And yeah, I hope you have a great day, and I hope to see you soon. Bye!